Peace. Good morning, family. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Uh, I know some of y'all, especially those who are consistent on the platform itself. I know they was like, I wonder is he going to be on? The answer was yes. Come on, focus. Let me show you how it works. Focus. You see that? All right. So peace. Good morning for everybody that's here. Peace, Miss Selena. For everybody that's here right now, I just want to say thank you and appreciate you wholeheartedly and consistently as well. So we all know what is considered today, recognized, I should say. We all know what is being recognized today for some, and which has always been apparent to others. So before we really jump into it, peace. Good morning, Miss Bridget. It was great to see you yesterday, on this past day. So what I want you to do right now is to go ahead and share this. Go ahead and share this. And once you finish sharing this live, go ahead and put the word done into the comment section, because now, once you learn something, you have a direct responsibility of passing it on. So before I drop these jewels today, I want you to pass it on by way of sharing it and put the word done, just for checks and balances, because we're going to drop some stuff today for those who didn't know, for those who need to know, and those who are willing to learn to know. All right. All right. One person. We got 4 people watching, but one person said done. Obedience is always good. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. The 4 F's of Juneteenth. Let me put the caption down for people when they come in. They're going to be like, what are we talking about? Easy. It's right there. Pay attention to today, because we're dropping the 4 F's of Juneteenth. Go ahead and put Juneteenth in the chat, just so when people come in, some people read things, some people don't pay attention to things. A lot of people, when they watch stuff, they go directly to the comments before they do stuff. I know I'm one of those people. Sometimes I go directly to the I might see a post, but go directly into the comments. So put the word Juneteenth, because that's what we're talking about. Some people, that's what they pay attention to, but whatever. I'm going to leave that alone. All right, so the 4 F's of Juneteenth. And as you know, for those who know the platform, I will always go into the definition of it and the etymology of it. There wasn't really an etymology in the word Juneteenth, but there was 2 definitions that I want to touch on. So the first definition of Juneteenth, it says Juneteenth was celebrated on June 19th to commemorate the emancipation of enslaved people, really enslaved Africans, in the U.S. The holiday was first celebrated in Texas, right here, home of Consistency is Currency, where on that date in 1865, the aftermath of the Civil War, slaves were declared free under the terms of, pay attention to that word, terms, free under the terms of 1862 Emancipation Proclamation. So the inversion that I want you to pay attention in this is white over red. It was a holiday first declared in Texas. Holiday first declared here in Texas on that date in 1865. Declared free under the terms of 1862 Emancipation Proclamation. I'm going to say it again. The inversion is white over red. The holiday was first celebrated in Texas. That date in 1865, we know June 19th, but that date in 1865, declared free under the terms of 1862 Emancipation Proclamation. And now the second definition, again, everything is platform by way of definition or etymology. You can always go and research it yourself to get a much better deep dive for you. All right. It says Juneteenth is a holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. It's also called Emancipation Day or Juneteenth Independence Day. The name Juneteenth references the date of the holiday, combining the words June and 19th. for those who didn't know, who've always seen the word Juneteenth, but never looked at it as a combine or a conjunction between the month and the actual day of 19. So the inversion on this, again, is white over red: Emancipation Day or Juneteenth Independence Day, combining the words of June and 19th. So if you never knew that Juneteenth was a combination of the month and the date, go ahead and put aha. I mean, just be transparent. It's the month and the date, June and 19. Put together, Juneteenth. All right, so let's take this dive quick. So as it says, the Emancipation Day or the Juneteenth Independence Day, let's talk about someone who broke it down. I mean, you can look it up yourself. Mr. Frederick Douglass. Brother Douglass, can you tell us about how you feel about the 4th of July? Frederick Douglass on July 5th, 1852. Now, this is previous to the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, because the Emancipation Proclamation was signed January 1st, 1862. But they have been celebrating 4th of July since 1776. But yet the celebration was continual every year after that, in celebration of a Independence Day. I will put it that way. It was a celebration of an Independence Day. So Frederick Douglass wrote, and he says, "What to the American slaves is your 4th of July?" Again, everything that you see can always be referenced for yourself in order for you to get a deeper dive or a deeper understanding. Because if it was said that we were free, or if it was said that there was an emancipation, or if it was said that there was an Independence Day in 1776, but rated continuous, Frederick Douglass said, what to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all days of the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. Frederick Douglass wrote this in July 5th, 1862. He got to the point to where he had enough and had to say something about it. He used his influence to say something about it. How many of us have used your influence to say something about it, whatever that it is for you? Because we have a lot of people that say, oh, I'm not from Texas, so I'm not going to celebrate Juneteenth. But you're going to sit around and wear your red, white, and blue and your stars during the 4th of July, but won't be transparent enough to learn your own history about Juneteenth. That's your history. I mean, we can talk about American history and stuff like that, but that's your history as a culture, your history. Even those who are not descendants of enslaved Africans, those who come over here will still not celebrate the Emancipation Day, the true Emancipation Day of Juneteenth. But yet you want to bear the fruits of the inventions that was made from the enslaved Africans, the stoplight. You don't want to celebrate Juneteenth, but I see you stopping at the stoplight. You don't want to celebrate Juneteenth, but I see you using the water gun. All those inventions that was made from enslaved Africans that were the fruits of the labor of those who died before you, but yet you don't want to celebrate something that was the true commemoration of freedom, Juneteenth. So let's take this deep dive. The exception in Texas where the holiday was originated and known as Emancipation Day. Juneteenth had been celebrated locally here in Texas since 1860. That is a long time. So let's think about this for a moment. If the Emancipation Proclamation was signed 1 January 1862, but then the spread of the word or the spread of the information did not reach Texas until 1865, a lot of us fall victim to the lack of information. But when we seek the information and we find these things and we hold true to those things through the information, we still don't disseminate the information. We keep it to ourselves. Because if freedom was free and the flag was flown since 1776, but yet we were still not free, because remember, it said the terms of the Emancipation Proclamation. That is in terms, not the signing or the signature of the Emancipation Proclamation, but the terms that they're in. So in 1862, as it was signed, but the information was not truly disseminated until 2 years later in a state that is so large. But yet the celebration of it was being celebrated since 1860. That is the dissemination of the failure of the dissemination of information. Because if it has been celebrated since 1860, but wasn't officially a state holiday until 1980, I'm going to leave that alone just for a brief moment. So the 4 F's of Juneteenth. The first F of Juneteenth is freedom. That's the first F of Juneteenth, freedom. True freedom. Whether it's the freeing of our minds, the freeing of our information that we can disseminate, because it does not cost you anything to sit down to tell them about Juneteenth. It does not cost you anything to sit or to commune with your whoever to tell them about Juneteenth. But you quick to go and buy meat and all this other stuff for the 4th of July, but you don't want to communicate with your folks about Juneteenth. Because if Juneteenth has been going on since the 1800s, 1860, but you're not talking about it now in 2022, how much more information are we going to deny our children and our children's children and our children's children's children because we won't conversate and communicate about something that we've learned through freedom? The information is free. But are you going to read enough about the information to disseminate that information, or are you going to wait another 157 years to tell somebody else about Juneteenth? I'm going to leave that alone. And the second one is family. The second F of Juneteenth is family. Sometime today, communicate with somebody in your family and ask them, what do they know about Juneteenth? Again, you don't want to communicate about the celebration of Juneteenth, about true freedom, true emancipation, but you want to reap the labors of those who were enslaved Africans. All the inventions that was made off the backs of black people, all the inventions that was stolen from the intellectual property of black people, but you don't want to teach family or friends about the true emancipation that happened in 1865, because the terms only took you as far as 1862. But the terms have stretched 2 years later to even go across the large state of Texas, but yet it was still celebrated in the 1860s, but yet you was not taught or you didn't understand it until 2022. How much more separation are we going to continue to have within our family and within our bloodlines and generation to know about the true emancipation about Juneteenth? Don't be that guy or that gal to say, man, I ain't down with all that Juneteenth stuff. And your child will be the same child who hears about it when they turn 30. Your child will be the same child who won't know about it until they turn 40. It's information and the dissemination of it. And the third one is fellowship. We as a culture, this image is, again, all that you can research yourself and find it. I found this morning. Like, I've never seen an old Juneteenth parade. This is when they came out with true and pure intentions. But yet you got jokers at home who won't even come out to something that was created for the perpetuation of a culture of people to talk about or to even commune together in celebration of each other. You won't get out of your house to communicate. You won't even get on a phone call to communicate. You won't even put your position to be teacher to disseminate the information. But you want to lay at home and tap into some of this federal holiday, but you don't want to communicate with someone to put them in the know about something that you probably just learned about or something you've known about for a long time, but you took it for granted because it wasn't apparent to you. It didn't affect you in any way. But this is fellowship, them coming out and participating in something that was greater to them and greater than them. True freedom and emancipation. And the last F is fun. Fun, whatever fun is to you. We have a lot of cities, a lot of counties, a lot of states and communities have Juneteenth celebrations and Juneteenth festivals and Juneteenth pageants and Juneteenth parades. And they had fun. Continue to have fun. Learning is fun. Education is fun. Fellowship is fun. Freedom is fun. Freedom. Free the dome. That means free within your mind to express yourself within inside of yourself before you can even extend yourself to someone else to teach them. Freedom of self. Freedom of community. So I say to you, before it was ever a holiday, it was free information. Before it became federal, it was how we fellowship. Before it became federal, it was about family. And before it became federal, we had fun. But a lot of times we forgot what fun is because we put other things that was considered as important to us. So learn something about Juneteenth today that you didn't know yesterday. and just communicate with someone about what you've learned. I know a lot of us had a lot of big mamas in our lives that passed on family traditions, that passed on family history, that passed on family tree, that passed on what it was to have fun and what it was to fellowship. How many of y'all remember family devotion, to where you used to get together with your family? I mean, some of us have come from broken homes and stuff like that, but your home don't have to continue to be broken. The trauma does not have to continue to be passed on. You do know that you can create trends within your own family, trends within your own community of people. Create the trend of passing on information. Create the trend of acknowledging something that is greater than you, and then pass that on. And then be the best you that you can be, because there is somebody that needs to know what you know. There is someone that needs to learn what you have learned. Hoarding it and not communicating about it is just as detrimental as you never learning about it. I'm gonna leave y'all alone. But y'all be blessed. And I'll see you tomorrow, 7:30, here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Happy Federal Juneteenth holiday. Y'all be blessed. Peace.